Have you ever felt the quiet sting of love slipping through your fingers? Not in an explosion, but in a slow, aching fade. The kind where they don't say it outright, but you feel it. In the silence, in the shift of their tone, in the way their eyes don't soften when they look at you anymore. It's not just about losing someone's attention, it's deeper than that. It's watching warmth turn to coldness and care turn into distance, and wondering what part of you stopped being enough. At first it's subtle. You tell yourself maybe they're just tired, maybe they're busy, but deep down, your heart already knows. Something has changed. That spark, the gentle effort, the consistency, it's gone. And suddenly you're left standing in the ruins of what once was, trying to hold on to the pieces, hoping they still fit together the same way. But love that's no longer nurtured withers, and with it, a piece of you starts to ache in silence. You search for answers. You replay every conversation, every look, every pause. You start to wonder what you did or didn't do. You question your worth in someone else's story, as if the way they love, or stop loving, you defines your value. The confusion is heavy. It's the kind that keeps you up at night and sits with you in the quiet of the morning. It whispers things that hurt to believe, that you're not enough, that maybe you never were. But here's what the silence never tells you. Your worth was never supposed to be weighed by someone else's ability to love you. People are imperfect. They change. They fail to see what's right in front of them. But God does not. In the midst of emotional drift and unanswered questions, He remains. When others grow cold, He stays warm. When their voice fades, His speaks louder. Through peace, not confusion. Through truth, not uncertainty. You don't have to chase explanations. You don't have to beg for closure, because sometimes the closure isn't found in their words, it's found in God's presence. He doesn't owe you reasons, but He offers something better: healing, strength, clarity. Not in the way the world gives it, but in a quiet, powerful way that begins where human love ends. And maybe that's what this pain is doing, stripping away the noise so you can finally hear Him. Maybe it's not punishment, but preparation. A refining fire, not to destroy you, but to build you. Because the truth is, the heart that's been cracked open is the one most ready to be filled with something real, something eternal. When love fades, it leaves behind a hollow space. But that space can become sacred if you let it. It can be the very place where God pours in His unfailing love, the kind that doesn't shift with seasons, the kind that doesn't pull away when you're not perfect, the kind that doesn't ask you to earn it. That's the love that restores. That's the love that redefines everything. So if you're standing in that space right now, feeling the chill of distance and the sting of confusion, don't let it drive you to despair. Let it drive you to truth, because you are not unseen. You are not unloved. You are not forgotten. And the heart that aches today is the heart God is holding with the most care. There is peace that doesn't depend on answers. There is love that doesn't leave. And there is a purpose in this moment, even if you can't see it yet. You're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt, slowly, gently, beautifully, in the hands of the one who never lets go. When you fall, when everything feels like it's crumbling and slipping out of your hands, there is still a love that remains untouched by your failures. A love that doesn't shift with your circumstances. It doesn't waver when others walk away. It's steady, it's eternal. The sting of rejection is real, sharp and personal, but it doesn't get to define who you are. The world may try to tell you that your worth hinges on the way people treat you, but there is a deeper truth already spoken over your life. A voice far greater than any human opinion has already called you worthy. Imagine this: the very one who painted the skies, who told the stars where to shine, knows your name, not just as a passing thought, but as His own. You are not some forgotten shadow in the corner. You are seen, you are known, and more than anything, you are deeply loved. Not by someone who might change their mind tomorrow, but by a God whose love never fails. That truth has the power to pull you from the edge when rejection tries to drown you. But you still have to decide. Will you build walls to protect your heart and carry the hurt like armor? Or will you hand it over to the one who can heal it? Healing doesn't come from trying to earn back attention. It doesn't live in the eyes of those who left. It comes when you stop running and rest in who God says you are. Maybe you're in that space right now, feeling invisible. Maybe someone you trusted has become distant, and their absence echoes in every corner of your heart. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to believe the lie that you're not enough, not lovable, not worth staying for. But look deeper. God sees it all. Every tear you hide, every ache you try to silence, every silent prayer whispered in the dark. He is not distant. He is not watching from afar. He's right there, in the heaviness, in the silence, in the ache. His word says he is near to the brokenhearted, close to those crushed by life. He leans in when others walk away. And in that closeness, there's an invitation. Lay it all down. Let go of the pressure to prove your worth. Let go of the endless striving. Because the love you've been desperate for, it's already yours. And it's more than enough. When that truth begins to take root in your heart, something begins to shift. The weight starts to lift. The need to chase after those who don't see you, it fades. You no longer beg for crumbs of love because you found the feast that never runs out. But still, letting go isn't easy. Sometimes we grip so tightly thinking if we just hold on a little longer, maybe we can fix it. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe we won't lose what we so deeply wanted to keep. And so our hands ache. Our hearts tire. We pour out every last bit of strength trying to hold together what's already slipping through our fingers. That kind of holding on, it's exhausting. You feel them pulling away, and instinct kicks in. You try harder, speak softer, give more, all in hopes of closing the growing distance. But no matter how tightly you cling, the weight gets heavier, and eventually frustration shows up. You question everything. Why won't they talk? Why won't they try? Why can't things go back? Frustration doesn't come from nowhere. It's born from unmet expectations, from love given and not returned. And if we're not careful, that frustration can sour into bitterness. It creeps in quietly, tainting everything it touches. But you weren't created to carry this weight alone. That burden of fixing, of figuring it all out, that was never yours to bear. Jesus said it clearly, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He didn't say come when you have it figured out. He said come when you're tired. Come when your heart is breaking. Come when you're at the end of yourself. That invitation still stands. Trying to control what you can't is like chasing the wind. The frustration you feel, it might just be your heart telling you that you're stepping into territory that belongs to God, that you're trying to write a story only He can finish. And sometimes the hardest act of faith is letting go of what you so badly want to fix. Even Moses, called, anointed, chosen, reached his limit. When the people wouldn't listen, when they grumbled and resisted, frustration got the best of him. In a single moment of anger, he stepped outside of God's instruction. And that moment cost him more than he ever expected. It's a powerful reminder that frustration, when left to grow wild, can lead even the strongest among us to places we never intended to go. So when relationships shift and people pull away, you have a choice. You can chase control, let your frustration speak louder than your faith, or you can surrender. You can trust the God who sees beyond what you see, who knows what's ahead even when you don't. Maybe right now you're weary. You've tried to love well. You've prayed. You've waited. You've stretched yourself thin trying to save something that's slipping through the cracks. And all it's done is leave you worn out and aching. But God is standing there, arms open, whispering, "Give it to me." You don't have to carry this anymore. You don't have to keep trying to fix what's not yours to fix. Rest. Trust. Let go. He hasn't forgotten you. His plan hasn't been derailed by someone else's choices. The distance you feel, it may be the space where He's about to move. You may not understand it now, but nothing is wasted. Nothing is unseen. And you were never meant to walk this road carrying it all alone. Have you ever reached a point where everything feels like too much? Maybe you've spent months or even years trying to hold everything together, pushing through the pain, the frustration, the uncertainty. Yet somehow it feels like nothing ever changes. You're still stuck, still waiting, still longing for the answers that seem to evade you. The truth is, there's only so much you can do on your own before it becomes too heavy to bear. You feel the weight of it all, and in those moments, the weariness can become overwhelming. It's not that you don't care anymore, but somewhere along the way, your strength started to fade. You've cried all the tears, asked all the questions, and replayed every memory. Yet the emotional exhaustion leaves you feeling like you've reached a breaking point, and then, in the quiet, doubt creeps in. Maybe you begin to wonder, is God really listening? If he cared, wouldn't he have stepped in by now? It's easy to feel abandoned when the answers don't come the way you expect them to. But here's the thing. Just because you don't feel his presence doesn't mean he's not there. The silence you hear isn't abandonment. It's not God ignoring you. Sometimes it's precisely in those silent moments that God is closest, waiting for us to finally release control, to stop trying to do it all on our own, to surrender fully to him. Remember what Isaiah 40:29-31 tells us. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. You see, when we reach the end of ourselves, that's not a sign of defeat. It's the moment God is waiting for, the moment when we stop striving and start resting in his strength. He doesn't leave us to figure it out alone. He waits for us to stop carrying burdens that were never meant to be ours. Take Elijah, for example. After calling down fire from heaven and witnessing God's miraculous power, he found himself running for his life, exhausted, afraid, and feeling completely defeated. He reached the point of no return and cried out to God, "I have had enough." But God didn't rebuke him for feeling weak. Instead, God sent an angel to feed him, to give him rest. And when Elijah was ready, God spoke to him, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a gentle whisper. God knew Elijah needed rest, not more striving, and it's the same with us. When you're worn out, when you're tired of holding on, God doesn't ask you to keep pushing through your own strength. He invites you to rest in him. Jesus in Matthew 11:28 promises, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This isn't just an invitation, it's a promise. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be strong. You just need to come to him, bring your burdens, and trust that he will give you the rest and the strength you need. So if today you find yourself at a breaking point, if you're tired of holding on and trying to control things that are beyond your reach, know this. You don't have to carry it all alone. Release what you're holding on to. Trust that God's plan is greater than anything you can imagine. When you surrender it all to him, that's when you'll discover the peace you've been searching for. The peace that can only come from knowing he is in control. Let go and let God take the weight off your shoulders. Only then will you truly experience the freedom and peace that come from trusting him completely.